So you're going to camp this summer and you don't really know what to expect and you just have so many questions but you don't want to be that person. Don't worry, I've got you. This video is going to answer pretty much all of your questions from essentials and shopping, camp culture, being a counselor and working with children, any additional advice, and then I will answer some commonly asked questions that you may still not know the answers to. And if this video doesn't answer all of your questions, just comment them down below and I'll make sure that I reply. Okay, so these are some things that I highly recommend that you bring, but I will be making a separate video about things that I regret bringing and things that I regret not bringing. So I will start with some common essentials that a lot of people talk about, but I'm just going to reiterate it for you. Bring a water bottle, and if you can, bring an insulated water bottle. It gets so hot at camp and you don't want to be drinking hot water that's been out in the sun. Sunglasses. Last year I took one pair of sunglasses and they were Ray-Bans and they ended up getting lost at a water park that we went to, and so I highly suggest that you just bring a whole bunch of cheap sunglasses. Also, if it's your vibe, bring lots of activewear. People live in activewear at camp. And then these are some things that you probably think aren't necessarily essential, but I highly suggest that you bring it. Moisturizer. You'd be surprised how dry your skin gets, and trust me, it is going to help with your sunburn that you get over and over again. A notebook and pen. Again, you would be surprised just how much you use it. A digital camera, a Polaroid, or a disposable camera. This is something that I regret not bringing last year, and since you can't really have your phones on you, you want to be able to take photos and document your time at camp. Something to do when you are on duty at night, or as we call it, OD. A coloring book, a journal, or a reading book. I ended up ordering a coloring book last year to be delivered to camp, and I loved it on my ODs and honestly just to be with my girls in the bunk. Also, get a book lamp when you're on OD because it is so hard to color or write whatever you're doing with just the porch light or a torch. Okay, this is something that I really regret not bringing, so I'm going to emphasize it a lot. A mirror. Yes, there are mirrors at camp in the bunks, but a lot of the time the campers are using them, so having your own travel mirror is so essential. Another one that doesn't get talked about at all is a pair of scissors. If you can, bring a pair of scissors. This was something that I really wish I had last year. I know it seems strange, but you would be surprised how often you need scissors. Thankfully, one of my campers had some, but I felt so bad using hers all the time. But in the bunk, a lot of the time you'll be making friendship bracelets or you need it to cut off tags or open packages. So having a pair of scissors is what I think is essential. Okay, so these are some more tips about shopping and your essentials. I know that everyone says this, but label everything. Thankfully, at my camp, when it came to laundry day, it was usually just me and my international co that used the washing bag because the Americans would usually do their washing at home. But there were some weeks that we all had stuff in the wash. I don't think for us that anything got mixed up, but I just think that it's best to have everything labeled just in case. This brings me to my next piece of advice, and it's bring socks with special designs on them. Socks always go missing or they get mixed up in the laundry. So if you have some that are clearly identifiable as yours, then I think it's going to help you in the long run. If you're packing light, like in a carry-on or in a backpack, buy your toiletries at Walmart or on Amazon and get them delivered to camp. Yes, some people say that the toiletries in America are more expensive, but would you rather pay a little bit more for your toiletries or pay for checked bags? And just some extra advice, last year I took one regular bottle for each of my toiletries and it lasted the entire summer. Okay, this is a big one that I ended up doing a lot last year, and it's make orders on Amazon or Shein or wherever you want to buy from and get them delivered to camp. Last year I bought a mattress topper from Amazon and it was way better than the ones from Walmart. And if you have the money, I suggest buying some bedding. It will make your area so much more cozier and homey. And at my camp you're there for about 9 weeks, so I think that it's worth it. And another thing to go along with your area, I didn't do this, but you can buy tubs for under your bed and in your cubbies to keep everything organized. My American co's had these last year and I just felt like they were able to store so much more stuff and everything was so much more organized. But again, it kind of depends how much stuff you plan on taking and if you plan on returning the following year. And lastly, in terms of essentials and shopping, at my camp we didn't really have that many spirit events, but The 4th of July was so big at camp, and I feel like just in America in general. So I highly suggest that you bring something to wear on the 4th of July, even if it's just a pair of denim shorts. Just make sure that you bring something for that day. Okay, now I'm going to talk about one of the most important things at camp, and that is camp culture. This is so important, and I'm going to emphasize it for you. Take time for yourself at camp. For the first part of summer, I always wanted to be with my friends, especially during free periods or rest hour, because I hadn't seen them all day. But take these times to rest if you need to. The amount of naps that I had during these times and the amount of days that it helped me get through, especially towards the end of camp, just remember that you can see your friends at night. I'm not saying don't see your friends, but if your body is telling you to stop for a minute, then take the time and stop. Another big thing, and probably the main reason why you want to go to camp, and it's about embracing the camp culture. Be open to everything and don't care if people are judging you, because it's most likely that no one is actually judging you at camp. Honestly, just act confident even if you're not. I like to have the mindset of fake it until you make it. And finally, talk to everyone at camp, especially during orientation. You would be surprised the amount of things that you have in common with people, or the life experiences that they've had. People come from all around the world to go to camp, and I just think it's so interesting and so important to learn about each other. Also, everyone says it, and don't be afraid, but ask lots of questions. Returners are always more than happy to answer any questions that you have. And to go along with this, lean on your supervisors. They will answer any question that you have, and they will probably do just about anything for you. So I see a lot of questions and concerns on social media surrounding this, and it's about being a counselor and working with kids. And yes, I have the experience of being a camp counselor, but I'm also a teacher, so trust me when I tell you these things. Form bonds and relationships with your kids before implementing discipline. They will respect you so much more if you take the time to actually get to know them. Then when there is an issue in the bunk or you need them to clean their area, they are more likely to do it for you. And to go along with this, always approach a negative situation from their point of view and be on their side. Just be understanding and come up with a solution together. This is a big one, and it's kind of sad that I have to be saying this, but I think it's seen a lot in camps. But remember, you are there for your kids, so hang out with your campers. As much as you want to be with your friends during your activity periods or relax on your bed, go and spend time with your campers. You have time to be with your friends on your evenings off, your days off, and traveling after camp, but you only get to be with your campers at most camps for 7 weeks or less. Play with them during rest hour and before and after dinner. My kids would love to play tetherball and volleyball, so we would take them out before dinner. They can also see their friends in other bunks, and honestly, you can use that time to see your friends in other bunks too, if you really wanted to. You can just all hang out and play together. It's a win-win, really. Okay, this is a big one that I think that we all need to be reminded of, and it's don't stress the little things, especially with your campers. Yes, you are there to be their parent, but you don't need to be getting up them all the time. And if you feel like you are getting snappy, then firstly, you're probably tired, so catch up on some sleep, but just remember to laugh and joke around with them, and just don't be cranky all the time, because then it's just going to be a negative experience for all of you. Okay, so now I'm going to give some additional advice from me personally that I think is really important. The first one being document your experience, whether that be journaling or taking photos. Last year, I journaled almost every OD, which was about every 4 nights for us. And by the end of camp, I had a basic gist of what happened over the summer. Also, I know I mentioned this before about taking a camera. Since we can't use our phones, I really wish that I had a camera. And honestly, I think this year I'm going to make a scrapbook of my time at camp, so having those photos and using those journal entries in my scrapbook would be great. A lot of people say this, and I'm just gonna reiterate it again for you, but if you can, do not book your flight home. There will be a lot of traveling going on, and trust me, there will be someone going to the places that you want to go. Okay, this is the thing that I think is most important for me, so I'm going to say it loud and clear for the people in the back. Be yourself. Wear what you want to wear. I found that fashion in America is so different to the fashion in Australia. So obviously I took clothes that I would wear back home, like denim shorts, linen shorts, knitted shorts that I would wear to the beach. But I found just about everyone was wearing activewear, and I panicked and I made big orders for activewear, which I don't really regret, but I felt more comfortable wearing my clothes. So towards the end of summer, I started wearing my clothes again, and I actually started to get a lot of compliments. Another big one that is important is go to bed early, especially when you're on OD. Last year, when I was on OD, I was going to bed at about 10 p.m., pretty much once I knew that my girls were asleep, and it was so helpful. Also, just remember that you can go to bed early on your nights off. I did this a few times and it helped me get through the days so much easier. And finally, for this additional advice, be appreciative that you don't have your phone. Camp can feel so surreal, and it is actually so nice having real conversations with people and playing sports and doing activities that you probably don't have the opportunity to do at home. Okay, so now I'm going to answer some commonly asked questions. I'm going to start off by discussing the great Crocs versus Birks debate. Honestly, you know that I'm going to start off by saying wear whatever you want and what you feel most comfortable in. Yes, Crocs were a big thing at my camp, just like they are at pretty much every camp, but I am a Birks girl through and through. I don't like Crocs, I find them to be uncomfortable, and so I am so glad that I had my Birks with me. This is coming from someone that was a lifeguard and spent a lot of time by the water, and there was only one time when I needed Crocs, and it was when we had camp out and we did a creek walk, but I just borrowed somebody's that was in a different division and didn't have camp out that night, and it was fine. So honestly, it's up to you, but if you do take Crocs, I highly suggest that you do bring Jibbits. They are so cheap, and it does mean a lot to the kids when you trade them. But I do not regret taking my Birks, and I'll be taking them again this year. Okay, another thing that I see asked a lot about is towels and bedding. At my camp, we were provided with, I think, 5 towels and a set of sheets. I'm not sure if every camp does this, but honestly, just reach out to your camp and I'm sure they'll tell you. And I'm just going to make this statistic up, but I would be 99% sure that camps will provide international staff with towels and bedding. And honestly, if they don't, I would suggest just ordering it online to be delivered to camp. I just don't think it's worth wasting space in your suitcase for things like this. Okay, and another debate is the suitcase versus backpack. Last year, I took a suitcase and I didn't regret it at all until we went traveling after camp. We went through so many train stations and up and down so many stairs. And in that moment, I really wished that I had a backpack or a lighter suitcase. Thankfully, one of my closest friends, shout out to Liv, swapped with me and helped carry my suitcase up and down the stairs. But this year, I plan on just taking a carry-on or a backpack. But this is also because I am going to Europe before camp. But honestly, if you can, I would highly suggest doing that if you plan on traveling after camp. Okay, so now I thought that I would answer some commonly asked questions, or questions that you might just be too afraid to ask. So I follow this girl on TikTok. I believe her name is Aisha, and I went through all her videos and wrote down some questions that she has posted and thought that I would just rapid fire answer them for you. The first one is, what swimsuits are people wearing that are appropriate? Shein, they are so cute, so appropriate, and so affordable. But I also like Billabong and Rip Curl, which are Australian brands. They are good quality, well designed, appropriate, but they're just a little bit more pricey. What is your favorite thing about orientation? Honestly, orientation is one of my favorite things about camp, and obviously meeting new people, but also being able to play different sports and hang out at the pool and the lake before the kids arrive. Don't be that person that spends their entire time inside their bunk on their phone being antisocial. What's your favorite thing to do on days off and evenings off at camp? Honestly, just being with my friends and taking time to relax. Camp is so exhausting and you'll be so thankful for your time off. Should I bring a hairdryer, a straightener, and a curling one to camp? I would say no. Everyone has wet hair at dinner and evening activities, and honestly, your hair dries so fast because it's so hot. Other people might disagree, but in my mind, camp isn't a fashion show, and I don't think people are going to be looking at your hair and judging it because it's wet or not styled. And honestly, in my opinion, it's probably just going to get ruined the next day when you go to the pool pool or the lake or whatever activity you're doing. Where are your favorite places to travel to after camp? Basically everyone at my camp goes to New York and then Nashville together. Last year I went to New Orleans and Atlanta, which I thought were okay, but I loved Houston and Washington DC. I also went to Boston before camp and it was one of my favorite places in America, so if you're anywhere near New York, I highly suggest that you go there. What do you regret not taking to camp? Like I said, I'll be filming a separate video on this and I kind of already answered it, but a mirror, a book lamp, and scissors. What is something that you took to camp that you didn't really need? I took an Australian flag because so many people were recommending it on social media, but it just stayed in its packet the whole time. But other people did use theirs. So also my laptop, I think I used it once and it was just something else that I had to worry about. Okay, and then I saw these videos of people asking questions in the comments that I thought that I would answer for you as well. Do you have to be a strong swimmer to be a general counselor? I would say no, but it depends on your camp. At my camp, we are all general counselors and then we have a specialty as well. So some people were technically general counselors and they never had to get in the water. So for example, I'm a lifeguard, so I taught swim and lifeguarded by the lake and at the pool. But other people were in ropes and so they never had to go in the water if they didn't want to. How hard is the lifeguard test? Our lifeguard test I wouldn't say was easy, but they were very lenient when it came to marking you. Just remember that they want everyone to pass. We just swam a lap or two. Honestly, I can't really remember, but it was no more than 30 meters. And then they taught us different lifeguarding techniques and we just needed to perform them. But it was fine and honestly, I wouldn't worry. I doubt you have signed up to be a lifeguard if you can't swim. As long as you have a basic knowledge and basic swimming skills, you'll be fine. If you get hired for 1 year, do you automatically get hired for the following year? I don't think so. I think just like in everything in life, your position at camp needs to be earned. If you evidently put in effort, then it is most likely that they will ask you to come back. At my camp, they kind of had like an open invitation to all returners, but I'm not really sure what the process would be if they don't want you to return. Okay, this question I see getting asked a lot, and I honestly think I have the perfect solution for you. What is the situation with shaving? I shaved once a week on my days off and had an everything shower, but if I ever needed to shave during the week, if you know what I'm saying, I would usually just shower during my free periods. But since we only had 8 girls and 4 counselors in my bunk and an hour to get ready, it wasn't very often that we were rushed in the shower during shower hour. And the final question that I'm going to answer for you today is, when should I arrive in America? The day of, the day before, or the week before. My experience was a little bit different last year because I had already been in America for 3 weeks before camp started, but I arrived in Newark the day of, which is where they picked us up from. But I did know people that had missed their flight or their flight was delayed the year before and they were just picked up by head staff later on in the day, but I'm not sure if that's the case for every camp. So in saying that, I would suggest booking your flight to arrive the day before if you can, and that's probably what I'll be doing this year. But yeah, that's all the advice that I can think of for this video. I will be making a more chatty, more chilled video about my experience at camp and maybe answering some more juicy questions and just talking about what really happens at camp. So if you want to see that video, then please make sure that you subscribe because it will be coming out very soon. I also have some camp shopping hauls and other camp related videos coming out for you. But yeah, I think that's all for today and I have talked for way too long, so I'll see you in my next video. Bye.